Wicked shall be a ransom for the righteous, and the unfaithful for the upright. Better to dwell in the wilderness than with a contentious and angry woman.
Welcome to the channel, viewers. Reverend Dr. J.W. Morrison, Gosford, Central Coast, New South Wales, Australia. I'm on the road. If you're concerned about the background noise, do bear with me. Just on my way to lay blocks today at Botany, where I'll do the next video. Taking into consideration modern day relationships and narcissism, a word that's commonly used for people that have failed or people that have ruined a relationship according to the other person. I think narcissism is very misunderstood, not really known about, and misrepresented through the blame factors and things when a relationship fails. My understanding of narcissism, for those that aren't sure about it, with all its different ways in which it manifests itself, it has three main ways in which it manifests, and these are variable in how they work, how they go about doing what they do. The first one is the love bomb stage, where you meet somebody and they're putting it on. They're making sure that they are impressing you at such an extraordinary level. You're smitten by that person if it works. It doesn't always work. Narcissists do run into narcissists at different times, and they know how to play the game. But a narcissist is someone that's easily deluded, someone that can be fooled at their own game. They are very naive due to their tunnel vision of what they're trying to do. The narcissist will meet someone and begin to mirror that person. What I mean by that is, in the love bomb phase, you might say, well, I like bushwalking. And they really aren't interested in it, but they'll say, yes, I like bushwalking too. Or you might say, I like toast with honey. And they really don't make much effort or care about toast with honey, but they'll say, yeah, I love toast with honey as well. This is how they mirror you. You might say, well, yeah, one of my hobbies is spearfishing. And they might even say, yeah, I like spearfishing, and they can't even swim. And this is how they expose themselves, because sometimes when they're mirroring you, they'll forget that they're just saying yes to whatever's going on. And then when it actually comes to a place where what they've said they're going to do actually has to take place, the narcissist gets exposed, because it actually isn't going to take place. They're not going to participate because they were just saying what they thought you needed to hear to get you to bond to them in what's called the love bombing phase. The second phase in which a narcissist works is to start to, it's called the devalue phase, or the disintegration phase, where they begin to disintegrate in the relationship. They will have made certain efforts at the start in the love bombing phase to make certain you're intertwining into the relationship. And then what they do is they go into a disintegration devalue phase, where it makes you question if you're performing in the relationship well enough or not. because they'll start doing things that make you question whether they deserve your commitment or not. They'll begin to withdraw. They'll begin to do things that make you scratch your head and ask yourself, what is going on here? There'll be no legitimate reason for it. What will happen is it'll cause, and this is the purpose of it, to cause such an element of confusion that it forms a trauma in the person that they're with. Now, this trauma is designed to make you try and bond even further, psychologically become committed to and devoted to the narcissist in such a way that you're performing above and beyond to try and bring into alignment the disintegration in their behavior measured by their initial love bomb behavior. The devalue phase brings and manifests all sorts of dysfunction and malfunction and negligences, and they're testing you to see at this point what their tolerances are, what your tolerances are towards their maladaptive behavior, their deliberate, disruptive and negligent behavior. They're trying to work out what they can get away with, what you will put up with, whether you'll have boundaries and standards against what they're doing and speak up and say, no, this ain't happening to me. Sometimes they'll even go into the third phase and do a bluff discard. They're going to bluff you. They're going to throw a discard to see if you'll fight for them to be around or not. Now, this is a real clever move on the part of the narcissist, because they know there's a certain percentage in this move where they could actually lose the relationship. But if they pull off this phantom discard, this creates an even deeper trauma bond. Now, the trauma bond is a very serious psychological impact on the mind that becomes like a drug, because the way in which it impacts you, the trauma that it causes by way of a sense of abandonment, and it varies for all different people depending what they've been through, it becomes like a driving force, a drug that the person that they're with is going to perform at an even deeper level to make sure that don't happen again. Now, there's some complications that come at this point. If the phantom discard comes off and the person falls for it and goes into the trauma bond phase, there's two things, or there's many things that can happen, but the two that come to mind is they go deeper into their performance for the narcissist, male or female. They'll try even harder to prevent the discard from happening again. At the same time, there'll be red flags and alarm bells going off, but if a person isn't awake up to this kind of, to the narcissist and how they work, because they're everywhere, this isn't uncommon. I'm sure some of you listening to this will be resonating with what I'm saying. Oh, that's happened to me. You might even be sitting there saying, that's what I do. The trauma bond now will be driving the person to perform in such a way, similar to when I worked as a slaughterman. When I first left school, there were certain fences, boundaries that these certain different cattle and sheep would get put into, and they touch the fence, and it'd only take a short period of time before they realised, if I touch the fence, it's going to hurt. What happens to the people in these trauma bonds with the narcissist? If I upset the narcissist, it's going to affect me. It's going to cost me at a deep psychological level, because people don't want to lose. People don't want to upset their relationships. Now, I've had relationships with female covert narcissists that couldn't have cared less if they lost the relationship or not. I've known about narcissism even as a young man, with the way girls behave and act in different ways, and how they can be very cruel and punishing and all this sort of thing. But just got a car. What's he doing? Yeah, no worries. But the trauma bond is a very serious drug-like psychological effect. It has such an effect on the mind that it puts the person in a state of high alert, high performance, very similar to, say, a soldier in a position where they've got to watch for the enemy coming. It puts the partner in a situation where they're constantly on watch to make sure they don't do anything to upset the narcissist. And I do believe many of you will be resonating with exactly with what I'm saying, because you've been through it. Now, the trauma bond becomes a drug. The trauma bond becomes such a potent driving force in the relationship. This is what the narcissist is trying to institute right from the start. They build up the person and get them entangled and entwined by impressions. They begin to bring their performance back and start to cause diverse complications in the relationship, and try and make it look like it's a result of a lack of performance on your part. Males and females alike do this. And then by way of these micro-incremental negative interactions that they bring, then they'll throw the phantom discard to really institute a trauma bond situation on the person that they're with, which then, as I said, brings the partner, the victim. You're actually a victim. You're not a partner. You're a victim, into a state of high performance, high vigilance relative to making sure that the narcissist is accommodated, whether they're performing correctly or not. So you have the three phases of a narcissist. The first phase is the love bomb stage, where they institute such a high level of impression on the person, on the victim that they've engaged. Number two, the devalue phase or disintegration phase, where they start to push boundaries via negative behavior to see what the victim will put up with and what the victim won't. At the same time, this is causing micro-incremental insecurities and doubts in the victim, which makes them wonder whether their performance is good enough or not. And I believe number three, the phantom discard, and they can do several of these if they get away with it, is the most dangerous. If you get this wrong, if you're with a narcissist and you get the phantom discard wrong, you don't recognize it, you go into a trauma bond, a very deep trauma bond, and the narcissist becomes the center of your attention, and your world now evolves around making sure the narcissist is happy and never upset. You really put yourself in such a state of manipulation and control that you begin to lose your identity. You end up in all sorts of consequential trauma and other states of mind that are not good. This causes psychological, mental health issues. This also causes and can go on to create serious physical issues. In other words, the whole thing's detrimental to your health, which is not what a relationship's about. A relationship's about empowering the person that you're with, having a give, take, care and share mentality towards your partner, and a duty of care to play a role in the relationship that gives your partner an opportunity to be the best possible version of themselves that they can be. That's not how it works with the narcissist. The narcissist will wear you down to such a state that you'll suffer from mental health issues, which then go on to physical, very serious physical issues. By the time they're finished with you, you'll wonder what happened, why it happened, and you'll possibly go on to, maybe that's why you're watching this video. But a narcissist is not some angry person. A narcissist can be the greatest lover you've had. They can be the most thoughtful person you have had. But the psychological, spiritual way in which they're manipulating and bringing you down and controlling you in the unseen realm is so potent that you're almost, you're under a spell. A spell which will cause you to serve the narcissist in an unnatural way, not unsimilar to a dog with its master. I'm Reverend Dr. J.W. Morrison, theologist from Gosford on the Central Coast, New South Wales, Australia. Trying to help and educate people on narcissism along with the thousands of others that are doing it, because we are tired of these people coming into people's lives and turning them upside down. If this video has resonated with you, and I'm sure it will, many of you, do consider pressing the like button, subscribing to the channel, sharing this content, and I'll talk to you very, very soon. Bye for now.